Wow. Okay. So there's actually some insane breaking news. You remember not too long ago when the government spent $250,000 building an app for border crossings during the coup? No, wait, that's how much they should have spent. They ended up spending $60+ million. I don't really know how you go over budget that much, but the Canadian government found a way. Well, it turns out that after the Conservatives have been badgering the Liberals and the government for not weeks and months, more like years, about what's happened, and there's been criminal investigations, it turns out that the RCMP is actually charging the consultants for the federal government. Wow, ipso de facto, the Liberals are being charged for their corruption. Yay, it's a victory. It's a small victory, but it's a victory nonetheless. Well, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. Just a gentle reminder, this is indeed the extra channel, and I would really appreciate if you guys showed this one the same love that you do all the others. Without further ado, let's take a look at this awesome news, man. What a way to start the week. Larry Brock, Uncle Brock, says breaking fraud charges laid by RCMP. Trudeau's flawed contracting system allowed scammers to steal $250,000 from taxpayers. Trudeau spent $20 billion on consultants last year. This is just the tip of the iceberg. How much did fraudsters steal from Canadians under this Liberal government? Well, here is the actual article. RCMP charges federal consultant for fraudulent billing. Guys, it is really, really happening. I mean, it's everywhere. Even Michael Barrett is saying that they are being charged. Let's take a look at the actual RCMP website. So in the summer of 2021, Public Services and Procurement Canada launched an investigation into federal consultant who undertook contract work with 8 separate government of Canada departments and Crown corporations. Evidence indicted that the consultant who had submitted fraudulent timesheets that resulted in over billing of an estimated $250,000 between January 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2021. So have you ever seen the movie War Dogs? War Dogs is an awesome movie that really depicts the flaw in government contracting. So I believe it started back in because of Bush or something like that. In America, the bidding system for government contracts, they ended up changing it, right? So that it's open. So you can actually go on a website, and I've done this in the past. We actually took a look at this the other day or the other week with the like 30 billion or 20 or 30 million dollars that Canada is sending to like Africa to fix pooping on beaches. They're literally putting signs up in Africa that you can't poop on beaches, and it's costing us $20+ million. Yeah, no, I know this should be center headlines every single day. Like, it's insane. But you can go on the government website and you can look at contracts. And if you're a company that provides a service for the contract, such as, you know, building an app or whatever, then you can bid on that contract. The lowest bidder wins. The government wants to pay not the highest amount, but the lowest amount. But here's the thing. If you know who is bidding for these contracts, if you're on the inside, then you can just say, hey, put your bid for 5% lower or pennies lower than the other person's bid, and you're going to win. So it's a very broken system for those that have access to the bidding. I hope you're following. So now it turns out that, well, they've been caught for this little loophole. Let's take a look at this older video here of the arrive can in a mess, but the scandal hides the bigger question. This is something that the Auditor General had looked into, and everything just kind of got swept under the rug.
Hogan is the Auditor General, and she joins me now. Ms. Hogan, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Your report is filled with criticism about the way this app was managed and how the contracts were awarded. You may not be able to answer this because of the deficiencies in the actual record keeping that you highlighted, but where exactly did this situation go so wrong?
I would tell you that what we found is that the confusion started early on at the start of the pandemic when the Canada Border Services Agency and the Public Health Agency of Canada didn't set out an agreement between the two of them to know who would be responsible for the development and the implementation of the ArriveCAN application. And in that sort of accountability void, neither party put into place what I would say are sort of fundamental best practices when it comes to project management. So things as simple as an objective and goal for a project and then having a budget. It's really difficult to manage to a budget when you don't have a budget. And so that would have been the start of it. And then this disregard for some of the most basic elements when it comes to procurement processes, maintaining financial records, and contracting continued throughout the development and application of the application.
Okay, so there was no sort of alignment between the key departments and no clear overarching blueprint or a plan from the beginning. There's been a lot of talk about the situation, this being in the pandemic, and that has played a role in how government did a lot of its spending. But from what you've seen, do the problems with the ArriveCAN app, were they typical for what government was doing at the time, or were they exceptional even under those circumstances?
So I do want to acknowledge that this was happening at a time that was confusing and uncertain for so many, that if you put yourself back into March and April of 2020, it's sometimes hard to do. But the public service was asked to respond quickly and act swiftly to support Canadians. And at the time, the Secretary of the Treasury Board gave the public service that flexibility and said, in order to act quickly, don't worry about all of the rules or all of the hoops that you would normally jump through when you have to issue contracts, for example. But it was very clear that the public service was expected to continue to document that they made decisions with due regard for the use of public funds and that they could be answerable for the decisions they made, and that was missing. So an emergency is not a reason to throw the rules out of the window.
Okay.
No, and now that the emergency around the world and in Canada has really come to a screeching halt, you are finding that more and more things that happened during that emergency were very, very, very much illegal, right? I mean, look at what happened right now with these government contracts. And it's turning out that, you can't bend the rules how you wish because you're the government. You have to follow the rules because you're the government. And we're just finding more and more of these stories. And so this is an awesome victory. It's phenomenal that Liberal consultants are actually being charged, rightfully so. It's taken a very, very long time for this to happen. But I would love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Are you happy about this? Are you not happy? Is this a victory? Let me know what you guys think. Personally, I think that Canada can go back to being a prosperous country, right? You may not see broken Canada day to day. You may go to work, you go home, and if you ignore social media and the news, maybe life is just what it is. But fundamentally, at the foundation of Canada, our policies, our crime, our cost of living, and the corruption, all of those things, they may not have a direct impact on your life day to day. Consultants that, are being charged fraudulently with the RCMP, how does that affect you going to work, coming home, spending time with your family, making dinner? Not really, right? But when this happens repeatedly over and over and over again, you're talking about hundreds of thousands, millions, potentially even billions of dollars that we are making, that we pay in our taxes, that these people are just throwing out the window. Then that trickle-down effect of that wasteful spending, that contributes to our economy being in the shitter. The failed social programs, the cost of living, like all of these things, they add on and they add on. So you may not see it driving to work on, oh, look at that. Wasteful spending. Like it may not impact your literal day-to-day, but it's there. And I think that as these things progress, as we move forward into an election, as we get the proper people in government who have promised and shown really, that they are capable of transparency, I think that this is how we fix Canada and we increase our quality of life day to day. And you will notice that difference, hopefully, in the near future. But I love to know what you guys think. Like I said, on your way out, ladies and gentlemen, I would really appreciate it if you guys smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. And we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.